Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, and we will share the screen here. Share April 26th. Move things around a bit. Oops. There we are. And as usual, our first topic, continuing with Yoga Sutras. Chapter 2, Sadhana. Verse 23. The identification is the key to understanding the essential nature and powers of both the owner and the owned. So the commentary will explain that. The dance of the seen and the seer is the potency needed to bring about realization. Ironically, it is the wrong identification of the seer with the seen, equating awareness and the object of awareness, that provides the means for spiritual progress. This obscure sutra focuses on the identification or union, samyoga, of Purusha and Prakriti, pure consciousness and primordial matter. Vyasa explains. He's our major commentator. Purusha is the possessor, Swamin, and he is conjoined with that with which he possesses, Sva, namely Prakriti and her objects, the scene of the previous sutra. For the sake of experience. Worldly experience means perceiving the seen, and liberation means perceiving the real nature of the seer. So that might be a little obscure. But basically, as we looked at before, the world exists for two purposes. Remember what they are? Experience and liberation. So here, Vyasa is saying, not only does the world exist for that, for experience, but the seer thinking it is the seen is also necessary. If we don't identify with the seen, meaning the personal ego and all our emotions and plans and everything, then we wouldn't really act. So it's part of what's needed to give us experience. But at a certain point, the seer needs to stop identifying with the seen and no longer be the personality and the emotions and the thoughts that are going on. On the macrocosmic scale, Purusha is universal consciousness, an infinite unchanging awareness beyond personal identity, while Prakriti represents universal materiality, the entire manifest cosmos. On the microcosmic level, Purusha is the inner consciousness, the individual self or soul, the constant, pure observer within, awareness. Well, Prakriti is the personal world of experience. So we were talking about the microcosmic level there. And Gurudeva. For the most part, monists and pluralists within Saiva Siddhanta are of one mind. They both argue vehemently against the Advaita Vedanta view of Maya as mere illusion, insisting that this world has a divine purpose, the evolution of the soul, and that even though it is only relatively real, it is certainly not unreal. So the example I use is going to school. If school children have the belief that school is unreal, they're not going to study very hard. So they have to accept the relative reality of school and take it seriously in order to mature the soul. So that's the idea, that the world is not simply illusion. We have to take it seriously. So Gurudeva calls that relatively real. It does change. Verse 24. The cause of that is ignorance. So ignorance means avidya. Commentary. Ignorance is the cause of the misidentified unity of the seer and the seen, and true knowledge dispels this fundamental ignorance. Thus, right knowing, direct perception from the higher chakras is the cause of liberation. And Gurudeva adds to that. The mystic seeks to gain the conscious control of his own willpower, to awaken knowledge of the primal force through the direct experience of it, and to claim conscious control of his own individual awareness. In the beginning stages on the path, you will surely experience your mind wandering, when awareness is totally identified with everything that it is aware of. This gives us the sense, the feeling that we are the mind, or that we are the emotion, or the body. I am happy. I am sad. We are the emotion of happiness and sadness. So we want to be the observer of it, witness of it. I observe that my emotions are sad today. I observe that my emotions are happy today. But it's not us. Verse 25. With the disappearance of that, the identification also disappears. This cessation constitutes the liberation of the seer. Commentary. This is a reference to ignorance in the previous sutra. The sutra marks a major milestone as Patanjali defines the ultimate goal of yoga, kaivalya, liberation, absolute perfect freedom from bondage, and the end of suffering. It is brought about by the simple but nearly impossible to achieve return to pure awareness, freed from the taints, the limitations, the associations with the objects of awareness. It is achieved by eliminating the mistaken identification of the seer, Purusha, with the seen, Prakriti. The word Kaivalya literally translates to the state of aloneness, the condition of being absolute, which are references to the Purusha's complete detachment from all things. And Gurudeva. Each time he enters that unspeakable nirvikalpa samadhi, he returns to consciousness more and more the knower. He is the liberated one, the Jivan Mukta, the epitome of Kaivalya, perfect freedom, far-seeing, filled with light, filled with love. One does not become a jnani simply by reading and understanding philosophy. The state of yada lies in the realm of intuition beyond the intellect. The Vedas say, having realized the self, the rishis, perfected souls, satisfied with their knowledge, passion-free, tranquil, those wise beings, having attained the omnipresent on all sides, enter into the all itself. Verse 26. The means of cessation is unwavering discriminative discernment. When Patanjali mentions the means of cessation, here he is referring back to the cessation of the conjunction, samyoga, between Purusha, the seer, and Prakriti, the seen. The means to achieve this cessation is viveka kyati, discriminative discernment. From the perspective of the meditator, we can describe this conjunction as awareness identifying with what it is aware of. Through discriminative discernment, the Purusha perceives its real nature free from the fluctuations of Prakriti. This recognition dissolves the binding association, bringing an end to ignorance, attachment, and the cycle of suffering, ultimately leading to liberation. An important idea here is that a single superconscious insight is not sufficient to bring about liberation. That requires a relentless, persistent habit of perceptive insight, that the seer and the seer are not one, a constant return by the yogi to his inmost self, the state in which he alone exists as the immortal self, apart from the transient world he perceives. And Gurudeva, by calling awareness to attention, awareness immediately has to detach itself from that which it was previously aware of. For when awareness is attached to that which it is aware of, it thinks it is that thing. It doesn't think it is that thing, but seemingly so. When we detach awareness from that which it is aware of, we can move freely through the mind, first in a limited area of the mind, then in a more and more vast area of the mind. Then we learn to concentrate, which awakens the power of observation. If you have attention and concentration, the other stages come automatically. But for self-realization, you have to really want it more than your life. For that deep samadhi, that's what it is, more than your life. Verse 27. At the final stage, one's wisdom is sevenfold. Patanjali doesn't tell us what the sevenfold wisdom is. Vyasa does. Vyasa expounds on the 7 stages of the yogi's enlightenment understanding, Without reiterating them all here, it is sufficient to note the list begins with sufferings which are to be avoided and ends with, in the 7th state, the insight reveals Purusha abiding in itself, pure and alone. So that's Kayif, right? Awareness abiding in itself, pure and alone, is the 7th stage of unfoldment. And Gurudeva has 7. We shall now compare the superconscious mind to an onion of 7 layers, each interior layer more subtle than the outer ones. 1. Experiencing the consciousness of the eternity of the moment as if the world was revolving around you. So we're really in the present. 2. Experiencing a cosmic energy, a divine force flowing through your external mind, which is more real to you than the external mind itself. 3. Experiencing hearing voices, singing, music playing, the divine sounds of the flute, mridangam, veena, and tambura, while in meditation or early in the morning just before awakening. 4. Experiencing seeing the faces of gods or devas or rishi's face, looking into yours while in meditation or early in the morning just before awakening. 5. Experiencing the peace and inner poise of the all-pervasive Sat-Chit Ananda. 6. Experiencing the Ananda Maya Kosha, the body of the soul as it comes into conscious union with the physical body. 7. Experience being on the brink of the absolute, Parashiva, the void, having lost consciousness of the physical body and of being any of the 5 states of mind. These 7 states of superconsciousness are only a few, to be sure, of this vast area of mind. Inspiring, huh? 7 states. Verse 28. Starting to get practical here. By practicing the limbs of yoga impurities are destroyed, and radiant wisdom leads to discriminative realization. The limbs of yoga, anga, or limbs. This begins a section on the 8 limbs of yoga, ashtanga. Practice causes 3 events to happen. First, impurities dwindle. Second, with the grosser impediments removed, the radiance of the soul, jnana dipta, always there but hidden, is revealed. Third, the ability to discriminate between the seer and the seen becomes possible by practicing the limbs of yoga. And Gurudeva, to the meditating yogi, darshana is more than a communication radiating out to him from an external god or Mahadeva. It is a radiant light shining from the sanctum sanctorum of his own Sarasvara chakra. Oh, talking about inner worship here. Worship for him becomes completely internal as he follows that light, that darshana, seeking to know its source. In yoga, the devotee worships the transcendent aspect of God. He strengthens his body and nerve system. He disciplines the energies of mind and body. He learns to regulate his breath and to control the pranas that flow as life's force through his nerve system. In this process, the Kundalini Shakti is lifted and the multi-petaled chakras unfold in all their splendor. The subtle realms within the devotee are revealed layer by layer as he methodically perfects attention, concentration, meditation, contemplation, and samadhi. Verse 29. The 8 limbs are, this is English, restraints, observances, postures, breath control, withdrawal of the senses, concentration, meditation, and meditative absorption. So we've gotten to the 8 limbs of yoga finally. Patanjali begins a series of sutras discussing the 8 limbs of yoga. Because of its 8-fold nature, classical yoga is also known as Ashtanga yoga, literally 8-limbed yoga. And Gurudeva, Ashtanga yoga, also called Raja yoga, has 8 successive steps. Each are dependent upon the one that precedes it. These 8 successive steps are, then it goes through the same list. I'll read the Sanskrit this time. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. Very good. Oh, second topic, pass to Shiva. What is bhakti? How would you answer that question? This is a nice definition. Bhakti is devotion or love felt toward God, gods, and Guru. So it's devotion or love, but it's devotion or love felt toward God, gods, and Guru, not toward people, except the Guru, of course. Bhakti Yoga, the practice of expressing this love, is strong in most Hindu traditions. We express bhakti when we worship in our home, shrine, attend the temple, or travel on pilgrimage. The more we experience devotion, the more it grows within us. So that's the key point. We're not trying to just experience devotion, love of God, we're trying to deepen it, trying to grow it, make it bigger, make it stronger. This occurs when we sing sacred songs and chant bhajans. Listening to stories of our great saints and Satgurus inspires bhakti. Sarvasiddhanta Bhakti Yoga is never outgrown. It is not just for beginners. It's one of the false concepts that Gurudeva likes to address. The yoga of pure devotion, says Gurudeva, is found at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the path, meaning we never outgrow devotion. Even the greatest of yanis in Saiva Siddhanta are great bhaktars. By awakening this love and appreciation, we open ourselves to God's grace. We also express bhakti toward our Guru as a way to experience his or her blessings and grace. Devotion is a calm, intelligent expression of love for the deity. It is not unlike the closeness felt between good friends. Sarvasiddhanta, the path begins at the Charya stage, with getting to know the gods and developing a relationship with them through service or karma yoga. Then bhakti is naturally experienced. This is the Kriya stage. Our nature becomes soft, flexible, and content. Gurudeva explained, the inner knowing that all is Shiva's will is one of the first benefits of bhakti yoga. A close, loving relationship with God and the gods gives us a great stability in life and allows for success in meditation. If problems or negative karmas arise, the devotee can place them at the feet of the deity to be dissolved. When karmas are clear, the devotee is able to internalize his devotion into deeper meditations in the yoga stage. Nicely said. So if karmas aren't clear, then we need to just take them to the feet of the deity. But when karmas are clear, then we can go within in deeper meditations. So that happens on and off in life because karmas come and go. And a third topic, question sent into satsang@hindu.org, again from a retreat with the Hindu Students Association of Texas. What does it mean to say it is not the attainment of heaven that is difficult, that it is remaining there that is the challenge? How would you answer that question? Oh, it's like our visa runs out and we have to leave. 6 months visa to the US, you can't stay. It's not permanent. Ishta. So we have Ishta and Purtam here, 2 words. Ishta includes all types of ritual worship, including the gifts given during its performance. Purta indicates the various acts of charity and public utility, such as building and dedicating of deep wells for the good of the public, building temples and gardens, free distribution of food, giving gifts, nursing the sick, and many other acts of charity sanctioned by the holy books. So Ishtapurtam. A popular concept in Hinduism and other religions too is that if we live virtuously, earning abundant punya, then after our transition from life on earth, we will permanently reside in the heaven worlds. The Mundaka Upanishad decrees this concept to be false. While the punya earned by Ishta and Purta does grant access to the heaven worlds, eventually that punya is used up and the soul is reborn once again. The verse explains, these deluded men regarding sacrifices and works of merits as most important do not know any other good. Having enjoyed in the high place of heaven, won by good deeds, they enter again this world or a still lower one. Question to you, what is it then that grants the soul freedom from rebirth? If it's not Ishta and Purta. Jivatma Darshana. The Jivatma experiencing itself as Paramatma in the state of jnana, enlightened wisdom. Thus we can say that the fruit of jnana is moksha, total liberation from the cycle of birth and death on earth. Gurudeva gave a succinct description of this idea. Deep inside, we are perfect this very moment, and we have only to discover and live up to this perfection to be whole. We have taken birth in a physical body to grow and evolve into our divine potential. We are inwardly already one with God. Our religion contains the knowledge of how to realize this oneness and not create unwanted experiences along the way. Thank you very much. Om. Om. Om.